What's up, everybody? My name is Mr. Dupa. That right there is Adam Obesi's Rodriguez.
Yellow.
Drunk Dave Romero.
What up?
And our special guest for the week, special birthday edition, Gavin Benner.
Howdy, howdy.
And
Not his
Ladi
birthday.
Dupa.
Hey!
There you go. Today's brew is the Sensi Harvest. It's from Sixpoint Brewing Company. It's part of their Psych Liquids grouping. I don't know, how many was in the group?
There's 3.
3 in the group?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to enjoy this one tonight. This is the One Beer and Podcast. Let us beer.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where I fit in.
This is stinky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is stinky.
It's got that funk.
All right, ready? Cheers.
Pretty
All
good.
right.
I like it.
So here on the show, we have a 6 bottle cap rating. 6 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Right.
As regular listeners, as you are, you would know this. Correct?
Of course, I'll
Correct.
take a million.
Right.
All right. So, as a regular listener, what would you give it out of 6 bottle caps?
I would probably give it a 5.
5?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the, at least to me, to the
It's tasty.
Two-Hearted, which I'm really hooked on.
Yeah,
But I'm kind of surprised
No,
that it's
really,
got,
I'm addicted. Help me.
I'm kind of surprised it's got such a low alcohol content compared to most IPAs, but it's still got that really strong scent.
Yeah, it's got that boom.
Yes,
That
it's
odor.
stinky.
Mm-hmm.
Lottie?
I give it a 4. I don't know. I feel like I really enjoy IPAs. It's my go-to beer, but this one, a little too hoppy for me.
It has a lot of emphasis on the hops.
It does.
All over the can, it's just like, this is wet hops and hoppity hop.
Hoppin'.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, I can understand that. I think they want there to be an emphasis on the hops and the
Exactly.
flavor, so.
Yep.
Makes sense. I'm going to go with a 4 also.
Yeah.
I'm not really a huge fan of IPAs ever, but it's still pretty good.
Blasphemy.
Mm.
But I'm going to give this a 4 too.
I'm going for 2.
Yeah, of course you will, Sheep.
None of you guys like it.
Whatever.
Well, there's got to be something said about the uniqueness of
Yeah,
the
defend your
brand,
stance.
too.
The packaging
The
is
packaging's
what,
fantastic.
because I grabbed it just on impulse. I didn't even read it. I was like, oh, that's a cool box. And I had 6 Point before, so I grabbed it. I trust them. But yeah, the packaging is really interesting. The can is different. It's not a
Yeah.
regular 12-ounce can. It looks more like an energy drink.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
just like an energy drink.
Mhm.
Yeah. All the 6-point brews kind of have that unique look to them.
Yeah.
So,
So that's neat. I like that.
yeah.
Points. I'll give it a 4 or 5 for the packaging.
Oh, man.
No.
I mean,
talking about.
the look of it, it goes pretty far. So, more beers. Like, we were looking at, we were at ABC and we were looking at the Killer Whale Cream Stout.
Yeah.
We got that off just face value because it looked cool.
Right.
And then it turned out to not be so great. But still, the packaging was pretty good. And that's, that says a lot for the beer itself. Anyway, we have 2 additions for this week as they are in town. Gavin Benner and my sister, Ladi Dupa.
From the proud town of Tallahassee,
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
all the way down. Going
And,
north.
National
Oh
champs.
no.
They are in town for Lottie's birthday, as I stated before, but also because Halloween Horror Nights, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this podcast, and now we finally got to go, and we're going to give you guys our first impressions. So here we go. We walked in. What do you think?
I guess the only real reference point I have is to when we went last year.
Okay, well, let's start. How many times have you been?
This is my second time.
Okay.
And now the AVP house was definitely the better of the houses that I went to, even including the first time I went.
Yep.
Okay.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But the lines seemed way longer. And I don't know. We had just about the same group the first time we went. So I don't know whether the lines actually were longer or what made it feel longer, but that was a big
No, I
difference.
think they were just longer. They were longer. I mean, the Halloween house was a 90-minute wait.
Yeah.
Longer.
Well,
It was longer?
120?
we
No,
when we
that
first came in, I think it was 120.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not waiting in line
The
2
Walking
hours.
Dead.
The Walking Dead was 120.
But that was
Yeah.
like the whole entire duration of
Yeah.
us being there.
It's like, I mean, unless we got the frequent fear pass. I mean, the reason that we didn't, I feel, is because you guys would just be here once. I mean, we could go and get it now. When they leave, we could go again and try to experience it.
Yeah.
But I mean, just going, like, I just don't see how anybody is supposed to hit every house. I just don't. I don't
There's
see
no
how.
way.
And we
Yeah.
went fairly early
Really
this
not.
year. So.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, we tried to go last year. We went around 9:30,
Yeah.
10 o'clock,
Way
Yeah.
late.
Way too late.
and we still hit
But we still-
more houses
But the
than
thing
this
is,
year.
I feel like it's because we went during the weekend, and most people, I feel like they have like that idea, like, oh, go to the weekend, everyone's gonna be there, it's gonna be so packed, and it wasn't as packed as going on Thursday.
Maybe it's
because
the
we've
reverse
never been on Thursday.
thinking.
Reverse psychology.
Right?
Yeah,
Everyone's thinking,
yeah.
don't go.
And it's also
And then no
cheaper.
one goes.
It's also cheaper
Exactly.
during the week.
That's why it
That's
was so
true.
packed.
It's cheaper during the week. That's right. Yeah.
So
That
next
makes
year,
sense.
for context,
Weekends.
we went on a Thursday
next year, let's
night.
try a weekend.
Yeah.
We went on a Thursday night just for everybody to have some context on this. But yeah, I mean, it definitely did seem extra packed,
Yeah.
and it just seems to be getting more and more popular as the years go by.
Yeah.
So-
But you know what? Like the scare zones didn't seem that packed. It just seemed like it was concentrated in the
lines,
houses.
the
Yeah.
lines for the houses. Yeah.
People seem to be really dedicated to. Go ahead.
No, I have to sneeze.
Yeah, take care of
it. Do it.
Bless you.
Too much pressure.
People seemed really dedicated to getting the houses out of the way. So everybody they congregated around there, and I think that's why the lines were super long. Usually people are riding roller coasters, doing the attractions, the
Yep.
Simpsons house, and other stuff like that. This time I felt like everybody was really like gung ho,
Dedicated to the houses.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
because they're all pretty much like
Licensed.
licensed
Right.
titles. Alien vs. Predator, The Walking Dead, Halloween, the
Right.
stupid Dracula movie, the stupid TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
much more
Dust to Dawn.
things that people can reference in real life and relate to,
Mhm.
as opposed to last year. There was like stuff that people never even heard of.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we could check it out. But this year, you're right, a bunch of stuff that people are like, oh, I'd love to see an Alien house or the Walking Dead house,
Yeah.
or we just saw that Dracula movie. Let's go see the Dracula house. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
It's nice to
That's
throw
exactly.
that in
Yeah,
there.
that
I
makes
like
sense.
the scare zones this year compared to last year as well. Mainly just because of the variety.
Yeah. Last year they just had the roaming zombies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
It
the
was just too heavy on The Walking Dead.
I
That
said
was
it last
nice.
night. I love that the year that they opened up both parks
Oh yeah.
and they had the cross
Yep.
between them. Like they didn't open up the entire park. They had like the size of a park
That awesome
between two
walk
parks.
through.
Right. So you'd go over or you'd enter in Islands of Adventure, and then you'd take like a back to the back lot into or Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That was
some of that was
great.
open. So it was really cool that you were able to ride like actual roller coasters
Mhm.
and then go to the actual ride the movies.
Right.
Yeah, it was the
side.
best of both worlds kind of situation, which
Yeah.
I doubt they'll ever do again because it just isn't cost effective.
Too much
And it
chaos.
seems hard to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a giant area to keep your eye on and to make sure that everything's going the way it should. It just seems just a little too unfeasible.
Yeah, I read somewhere that the people that actually put on the shows and stuff like that, it was too spread out of an area for them to really effectively do scare zones and make sure the houses are,
Yeah.
appropriately
What I'd
separated.
like to, I don't doubt that they don't have the staff for it to have coverage. I would like to see both parks opened up completely, but one entry for both parks, or have like a park hopper.
Well, that's kind of the thing, though, is that I'm sure they have plenty of staff, but you have to pay that staff. And if you're paying more staff, more hours, you're making less revenue, especially if you're only collecting one fee, unless it's some huge fee at the
Well,
at
that's
the
what I'm
gate.
saying, like a park hopper pass. So you can either go to Halloween Horror Nights and Lines of Adventure, or Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios.
Oh,
But then I mean more. Well,
They have to
I think
theme
hands down
everything,
the choice would be Islands of Adventure for Halloween Horror Nights, just because of roller coasters, more exciting rides.
That's true. And I think it'd compete more with the Howl of Scream as well because, they have the roller coasters, they have the thrill rides that Universal doesn't have. So,
I would like to see like everything themed. Like when they used to have the Dr. Seuss house,
yeah.
or the Dr. Seuss
Scare
ride,
Zone.
like that stuff like that, like the Simpsons ride and the Simpsons area. They have the house of the Treehouse of Horrors.
Mm.
They could use that in
Yeah.
the Simpsons area. Like everything should be themed.
Mhm.
Once you enter Halloween Horror Nights, the area, every single thing that you see needs to be dedicated to it.
It's really hard to do though because they have to do that change in like
transition
an hour
morning,
or two.
Yeah.
That's all they have to get their props up, get everything set up, get their people in makeup and all that. So I think that it would have to be like a full day event if that was the case.
Maybe they should do a full day event then.
Yeah, they're making a killing off this.
They do it for Christmas, so
That's right.
What do they do for Christmas?
Grinchmas.
yeah, Grinchmas. They have the Whoville area. and all that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all themed.
Although I guess Halloween Horror Nights wouldn't work in the daytime.
Yeah,
But maybe it still could. I mean, the houses are dark.
Mhm.
The scare zones would be hard to do because
Yeah, I
it'd be
mean,
hard to be
that's-
frightened by
maybe
something
That's
you
about
can see
it. I
coming.
mean, you just
But-
don't do the scare zone in the day, or
Right.
you flood it with fog.
Yeah.
Could do that.
Well, you know what really frustrated me was that we went into that back alley, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. There's going to be a back alley that we can go into and get the crap scared out of us. And there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wasted
And
opportunity.
it looked fantastic
It
too.
usually does have something though. You're referencing the back alley in the New York area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually themed and has scare actors in it and has fog and everything. But this year they didn't have anything.
Yeah, they dropped
It's
the ball.
blocked off.
That's like a perfect spot because
Yeah.
it's just funneled.
Yep.
You just funnel people in there.
That's what you go in there for too.
But anyway, circling back to the main point, which is what you guys thought about this year in particular. Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. But like I said, last year we went to the Mummy ride. We saw at least 2 or 3 houses.
Mhm.
And then this year we got, one main house. 2, because
We
we
had
went
2
to
houses.
the, what was the name of that vampire one?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn. And that was good in and of itself.
I like that house.
But, yeah, that had
Yeah.
a very good ending. But I just feel like it was more comprehensive Halloween Horror Nights experience last year as compared to this year, even though I enjoyed the house choices better this year.
Right. That's how I kind of came off of it too. I really wish we had more time to do stuff.
Yeah.
And just wish we were able to get more done there because I feel like the quality was a bit higher this year, but we unfortunately weren't able to see it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
left me wanting more.
One
So
year
that's
we
a
need
good
to
thing.
do the RIP tour.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's an express. It's the express lane. Like you just walk through
Oh.
every house immediately.
Yeah, and they give
That's
you
how those
That'd be-
people were down in the MIB area.
Yeah.
right, and they give you a behind the scenes tour during the day, and it's like really
Oh,
comprehensive.
that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Ah, man.
Yeah, so
I've always, I mean, we've been here, we've lived in Florida since 98, 99.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the Halloween Horror Nights, I'm like, I want to get down in in the MIB area. Every single time I go, like I want down there. And now there's an option. I want to fucking do it. Yeah, I want to do that next year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd have to make sure I go if there's 4 out of the 6 or 7 houses that like I definitely want to see and I definitely want to go to.
yeah,
One thing about RIP is like I don't want it to be like a tour. Like it's a touristy thing. I don't want it to be like scheduled like the entire time we're there.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, we have to look into it a bit more.
Yeah.
I think they do like hold your hand through everything.
Yeah, I would not.
I don't want them to get. I don't want to. I feel like it might take away the magic of it. Like seeing all the behind the scenes stuff might be. I think seeing the behind the scenes stuff after would be better than doing it before. Like you don't watch the special editions of a movie before you watch the movie. You know.
And if you do, you're not a friend of mine.
So yeah, the special like the behind the scenes stuff has to. I feel like it should be after you've already seen the stuff because you see it, you get thrilled by it. Then they'd say, "All right, this is how it works. This is how
Lift
we
the
do
veil.
it." Yeah. You know?
I mean, I was fortunate enough to be able to see. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, behind the scenes, just because we knew somebody, and that didn't ruin it for me really. Because once it's lit the right way, it's nighttime. There's fog. There's actors in there. It is a completely different place.
Yeah.
How often do you? I'm asking the gentleman here because Ladi, you were scared shitless. every other person, which is awesome. I mean, that's the best part about it.
That's
Is
what you
people
go there
getting
for.
really scared. I love it.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
for you guys, how often do you legitimately get frightened by things at Halloween Horror Nights, and how often is it just, wow, this is very well put together?
Me personally, just thinking about the Alien vs. Predator house, there's parts where you come around the corner and you're expecting something to come out, but with how well they executed the costumes, that kind of I'm not shocked by any means, but it definitely raises my heart rate, gets me going. But there's a few times where you can put a little cubby behind where I would expect not to look, that you'll catch me off guard, and I'll legitimately, I'd say 3 times I was legitimately like, holy shit.
We heard you.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing there?
Hey, you buddy.
Don't talk. You have no room to talk. Lying.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, especially this year, I wasn't really that frightened, I'd say, but they're really good at deceiving you and making you look in one direction and then getting you from the other side.
Yeah.
That's what I always like about them. They have a distraction on one side and then they pop out on the other.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, like, I've always been a big film nut, so I love seeing the sets, I love seeing the costumes, I like seeing all the effects.
The thing with that, I feel like over the years, even though it's really cool, it's like, okay, for instance, last year they did the Walking Dead, just like walkthrough. You're more. I feel like I was more inclined to like look at what they are actually able to replicate. So when it was trying to scare you, I'm more like, oh, that's really cool. Instead of like,
right,
shit.
right.
Like in Alien vs Predator, the makeup was phenomenal. It's like I turn a corner and it's popping out at you, and you want to go like, oh my god, that makeup, that's great.
Hey, let me stare at this
Exactly.
for a while
So you're
longer.
not. I feel like that's kind of like taken away from it a little bit when they try and get these really hot movies and try to replicate them.
Yeah, it's such a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
how well they did takes away from how scary it is.
But that's
Yeah.
honestly that is the first time I was ever like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
In a house, because a lot of times I'm just like,
Yeah.
you're just sitting there,
Yeah.
whatever. But the costumes were pretty much authentic, almost.
Yeah.
The Predator costume was great, and like the placement of them was cool too, because it's just like they nailed the casting for the Predator too, because you don't expect some big ass guy
Yeah.
the size of
They
the
got big
Predator
dudes,
just to come out of the corner. So that was more
Not little dude.
that was more startling than actually being like afraid. I was more like, oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
intimidated.
Yeah, it I think at this point it has to be they have to catch you off guard because like the set the feeling and stuff more just impresses me more than it does scare me. So it has to be they have to time it right, which often it's really hard because they have to funnel us through these houses, and then if you see somebody jump from around a corner, then they have to reset for like 4 or 5 people because they can't like jump out again after the third person because it's like nigga, we saw you.
That
You know.
part irritated me more than the wait lines, which you expect going to any theme park. But in an ideal world, they would have more themed houses so that they could evenly distribute all of those the influx of people coming in, so that you're not just like prodding these cattle through these houses. Because at a certain point, you see the guy 10 feet ahead of you jumping out, scaring the people in front of you, so you know what's coming.
Right.
And it would be nice to have a little bit more sparsely populated houses.
Yeah,
I think
but,
more.
I mean, you do that, and then you're gonna have lines longer.
Right.
But you know what you do
hours.
instead?
But that's what it was last year. That the houses were bigger. Like the Walking Dead house was not a house. We went through each area. There was the bus and the barn and like all this stuff. Like, and then it opened up.
Right,
and there
outdoor
was,
areas.
Right. So they did it last year. I think what they should do. I think what would combat that is having it more. Having it less linear, because it's basically almost a straight line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to cut corners, they could make it so that this corner is where everyone gets scared. So by the time you're cutting it, you're not seeing what's going on ahead of you.
Right.
You have to make a corner. You have to make a turn.
Or like, they have a bigger haunted house that's more intricate. You have one entry, and then it branches off into 2 pathways.
Yeah, I think
that
they've
way,
actually done that in the past.
people's experiences aren't all the same.
Yeah.
and it's kind of like you choose.
Right.
You know, and maybe they could have like
Oh,
a
that
scarier.
brings you into it even more.
Yeah,
You
like
could have
this
free-
is a scarier option. This is the safer option
You could have free flowing
for people that just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I kind of miss and I think what you were talking about that they're doing so well at distracting you and then scaring you is because in the past a lot of their ideas were original ideas. So
Yeah.
they used to have that like it was a really psychedelic haunted house that they had a bunch of swirls and people were hiding on the walls. You could see them.
Psychoscary?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And that was more like that was purely like distraction. Like you look over here and the person's over there.
Right.
Now it's like, all right, now we have Walking Dead and AVP, like we're saying, and now the distraction is how well the sets are made.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're trying to pay attention to everything that's going around and see all the references from the shows and the movies
Yeah.
that when somebody does pop out to scare you, it's legitimate.
I
Because you're
definitely miss the themes.
Yeah, the
they're-
full park themes.
Yeah, they were like the licensed stuff is awesome because, like you said, I mean it's really cool to see the replication and how dedicated the replicas are. But the full park themes they're just bee's knees.
I'll tell you what.
But I mean they were.
I'll tell you
awesome.
what, Adam.
They sure were
Bee's
nifty.
Bee's knees.
They were nifty.
They were.
But yeah, I mean, I still had a great time. The only thing is, I wish we did have more time. I wish we could go again, and I just wanted to see more of it. So I guess that's the way that I'd like to feel for the park.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
but I
good
like
that
the
it leaves you
direction that
feeling
they're
that way.
going.
Yeah.
It's definitely improved.
Yeah.
Definitely.